Nick Booker. I'm an assistant coach at UC San Diego for the men's basketball program. I think for me, when I identify talent, first thing is, okay, what are we looking for? Obviously, position, athleticism. You got to kind of learn your group's playing style. So once you learn the group's playing style, then it's like, okay, is this player fit that playing style? So that's number one. And then as you are evaluating that player from a basketball standpoint, then it becomes, okay, who is this young man? I think that's number one. So the philosophy that I've adopted is, obviously I want an All-American player. That's the goal of probably any college coach, is to recruit somebody, develop them, and make them become an All-American, and in hopes that they help you win games. But to get there, the foundational piece is, who are the guardians, parents, grandparents? Are they all American family members? Are these is the rock of this player, the foundational piece that he kind of grew up under and who molded him? Are those all Americans? Because if they're all Americans, it's more likely that the kid's going to end up being that. And that's just experience. I've been doing this 12, 13 years, and sometimes it was a little trial and error on that portion, but it's definitely become my philosophy. So if I come across a kid who does not have great foundational support, I tend to shy away from that, because I've just had experiences where I know typically that doesn't really work out, or doesn't give me the results. I'd rather take a kid less talented who has that foundational piece, and it doesn't have to be a mother and father. It could be a grandma raising. It could be an aunt. It could be just a single mom. That part doesn't really matter, as long as that foundational piece is solid. That's what matters. At UCSD, this was my first year. Prior to that, I was at Eastern Washington, where we had one conference. Literally, we were at the conference tournament in Boise this week. Matter of fact, it was been literally the same time this week, and we're getting ready to actually jump on the bus to go over to the game to play, and then we get a phone call saying, "Hey, your season's canceled." And we kind of had seen it because all the other conferences were getting canceled, so we kind of put two and two together. It was going to probably happen, but devastating. I mean, we had just won the conference. We had pretty much all underclassmen and one really impactful senior who happened to be the MVP of the conference, and he was a tremendous young man. But the disappointment in their eyes, I remember when we had announced that, that was hard, and I felt for those young men that were in that room, and I remember telling each one of them, because again, majority of them were going to return. I said, hey, you're going to have the same opportunity next year, and just so happens, literally last night, that same group just won it, and now is going to actually just landed in Indianapolis and is getting ready to play in the tournament. So it was great for them, because I definitely still feel part of that, because I helped build that over 3 years. Education in general was starting to go that direction, so I don't think it was that much of a difference for our scholar athletes to take a full online. I think what really hurt them, and actually it was weird for us, was that the interaction, the personal interaction that you had with your professor, that you even have with your teammates, your coaches. It was like, for the longest, I was new to the program, so a lot of and I'm talking about UCSD, a lot of the guys had not seen me. They see me with a mask on, and it was just one day where I think we were outside somewhere, and I had took my mask off because we were socially distant at that time, and they were all like, "Oh my God!" Like, it was the first time they see me. It was over like months of like being around them. So a part of the camaraderie in college basketball is like the time we end up spending more time with them than our families during the season. I mean, you're talking about hours and hours that we spend with these young men to mold them, and again, that's a part of the business. So when you spend that much time, you get really close with these individuals, and that's a big part of what was missing. So the schooling portion, I don't think that part was too disruptive. I think the relationship piece was disrupted, and that made it hard. And then that's where, again, mental health starts to kick in. So we were very cognizant of that mental health, and making sure that we're paying attention to these young men's psyche at that time, you know, just throughout the season, because it definitely is, it's wearing on you. You know, it's great because we can see a lot more scholar athletes by viewing them, and the time away from the family is not as much. You know, like when we're in a normal non-COVID year, you know, there's basically 2-3 weekends of July, like weeks of July, where we're out, you know, and you're out recruiting, and that's all day, so you don't see your family during that time. And then same in April, it's like 2 weeks, and then they just added one in June. So, you know, those, although those are very necessary, it's hard on family. So online definitely helps that portion. But the part that you don't really get is again, it's hard to observe the personal interactions that you're looking at when you're evaluating a player. So for instance, on film, a lot of times it's cut where if a player makes a mistake or goes through a kind of a valley of a game, you know, like they're having some issues that game, you don't really get to read their frustrations. You don't get to see like what their character's like when things happen that are bad, you know, and that's an important piece to the recruiting and kind of figure out who this young man is. So it definitely made for more creative ways to get that information and a little bit of trust. You know, you obviously had to, you know, really dig around, and even then it's like, if you don't see it with your own eyes, it's hard to like really justify that, you know, you can really click off. So there's a lot of guessing. So we're bringing in this class at UCSD 7 players. Of the 7, we haven't seen 4 of them in person, and they haven't seen us in person. So that's kind of scary. You know, they've never been on a campus. They've never interacted with us in person. Everything has been through phone, Zoom, FaceTime, you know, you name it. So definitely not ideal, but you know, it is what it is right now. It was flattering, you know. I mean, obviously to get recognized at a national level is definitely flattering. But like I did an interview when I received the award, and like I told the interviewer, that award is more of a reflection on the people that I was with, you know. So I was with the Eastern Washington staff, and to solely say that it was just me would not be giving them enough credit. You know, started obviously with the head coach, who was kind of leading the ship there, but just even all the staff members that were involved, like the amount of hours and work that those members would get without credit. That award is us, you know. So when I receive an award like that, that's a us award. So again, also very flattering, but definitely wasn't just me, you know. I mean, there's a lot of people that put in time to help me get there, and just so happens I kind of got the credit for that. And then obviously for the future, you know, the goal is to become a head coach and run my own show. So finding young individuals who they don't have to be like me, but like have the ambitions that, you know, I tend to have, and like the people that helped me along the way to get that award. Those are the type of people I want to surround myself, because I know they're going to help me be successful. And at the end of the day, again, it's, you know, it's about the wins and losses of scholar athletes matriculating through the program, and that it's a big piece of that. So there's a lot of support pieces that have to help with that to get them through. And so the goal, the end goal, would be to run my own program and find individuals that could aspire to have that type of award. You're gonna laugh at this. I'm looking forward to, when we first start our games, popcorn. Because when you have popcorn, that's like basketball season. You know, it's like, you know, like I miss that. Like it was funny because I was joking with one of our support staff members, and he's like, "Man, what do you miss?" I said, "Man, honestly, I don't even. It's not even the fans on. It's just I miss the popcorn smell, man. Like, because that's when you know it's game day. It's popcorn smell. Like, and they usually start that like around the shoot around, which is typically about 4 or 5 hours before the game, and you know, you that's that excitement around it, and then obviously the fans and you know, just the whole theatrics of the game. You know, that part is awesome. But popcorn, I miss that smell, because it just, signifies that it's the game is here, and it's a college basketball game at its finest, and then all the stuff that happens after that.